Today I am going over step 2 in my 5x2 financial freedom framework, which is all about setting up a budget or a spending plan, like I like to call it, and understanding what your net worth is. I am Tiffany Thomas with WealthyTiffany.com, and I achieved financial freedom and became a millionaire. If you're looking to do one or even both of those things, make sure and hit that like button and hit the subscribe button, and we're going to dive right in. I recently shared my full 5x2 financial freedom framework. It's essentially the 5 steps to achieving financial freedom. And I want to go into more detail about step 2 of my framework today, which is all about understanding where you are currently with your finances. And that includes setting up a spending plan and knowing what your net worth is. Because if we don't know where we are currently, we can't make progress. I really like this quote. It is from the book, The Millionaire Next Door, which if you haven't checked that book out yet, I would highly recommend it. I will leave a link in the description to the book. The quote says, "The majority of self-made millionaires budget and track every penny. They know how much they spend on groceries, gas, and every other household line item." So a lot of millionaires track everything that they are spending. They know exactly where their money is going to. So if you are looking to become a millionaire or become financially free, you want to make sure and track exactly what you are spending. And I know a lot of people like to set up a budget. That's what they like to call it. But I like to call it a spending plan. It sounds a lot more fun to set up a plan to spend your money. And by creating a spending plan, it helps you figure out where you are now, and then it guides you to where you are going toward financial freedom. It shows all of your income and all of your expenses. And one thing that I like to include in my spending plan is goals that I am working toward. For example, if you want to take a vacation to Italy, then you can add that line item into your budget or your spending plan. And then you can contribute a certain amount each month toward your Italy fund. And that way it's a little more exciting to update your spending plan because you are actually focusing on goals, things that you want to work toward. Or for example, if you just need to build up an emergency fund, then you can definitely make that as a line item in your spending plan so that you can have a certain amount you are working toward to have as your emergency fund. For example, if you want to have $5,000 in the bank as your emergency fund, then you can add that into your spending plan and you can contribute a certain percentage of your income each month or a certain dollar amount until you get to that $5,000, and then you can replace that goal with something else like your Italy vacation. Let's talk a little bit more about setting up your spending plan so it works for you. I personally like using a free app. It's called Personal Capital to manage my spending plan. The reason I like using Personal Capital is because you can hook all of your financial accounts to Personal Capital so that you can see your complete financial picture in one place very quickly. For example, if you have different credit cards that you use, if you have a mortgage payment that you are making, and you have a checking, a savings, a 401k, you can hook all of those types of accounts to Personal Capital, and it will show you each transaction that goes through each of those financial accounts. So you can see when your paycheck is deposited into your checking or your savings account. You can see when there was a purchase made on your credit card. And then you can also see how much you have invested in your retirement accounts. And one other thing it shows you is your net worth, which we are going to talk about a little later in the video. And then since I do like finances so much, I have a Google Sheet that I update on my own. I export transactions into my Google Sheet so it makes it easier to update, but I can just kind of see all of my data in a spreadsheet. I like having both of those things, Personal Capital and my spreadsheet or Google Sheet, to help track all of my finances. And if you are interested in setting up a free account with Personal Capital, I will leave my referral link below, and you can click on that to get your account set up. But if you want to set up a spending plan in a Google Sheet or a spreadsheet, you want to list out all of your different sources of income in the top, and I'll show you an example in just a moment. And then you want to list out all of your expenses, and I like starting with my fixed expenses first and then my variable expenses. For example, your fixed expenses would be any amount, any expense that doesn't change month to month. For example, your car payment or your mortgage payment or your rent payment, things like that It's a fixed amount. So those are really easy to enter into your spending plan. And then you can move to your variable expenses, and that might be your utilities or how much you are spending on groceries. And then at the bottom of your spending plan, I like to know the net income. So all of your income amounts minus all of your expenses. And you can make sure that you are not spending more than you are bringing in. And like I mentioned before, make sure and put all of your goals into your spending plan, into your budget, so that you can see those every single time you update your budget and make sure you are working toward the things you want to be working toward. I want to share another quote with you. This one is by L. Tom Perry, and he says, "Pay yourself a predetermined amount directly into savings." It is amazing to me that so many people work all of their lives for the grocer, the landlord, the power company, the automobile salesman, and the bank, and yet think so little of their own efforts that they pay themselves nothing. So you want to make sure you are paying yourself first. And that's why I like adding those goals in the top of my spreadsheet, the top of my expenses, because I do want to make sure that I am building up an emergency fund, or that I am making investments, or working toward a fun trip to take. We don't want to be paying all of our bills and then not having any money left for ourselves. And here's an example of a spending plan that I have created, and I've just entered in some dummy numbers. These aren't my actual numbers. But you can see at the top, I have income sources very first. So if you're receiving a paycheck, any extra income that you might bring in from a side hustle or something like that, or if you do have rental properties like I do, then you want to make sure and include that amount in your spending plan. And then I move to all of my expenses. So you can see I have goal number 1, goal number 2 at the very top. And then I have tithing, and then the rest of the expenses. So you can set up your own spending plan so it works for you. Maybe you need to break things down even further, or maybe you need less categories. You want to make sure that it's not overwhelming, that you aren't going to update your spending plan, but you want to make sure that it is effective so you are actually tracking where all of your money is going and how much is coming in. And then at the very bottom, I have that net income number. So your income, all of your income, and then subtracting out all of your expenses. That is your net income. You definitely want that to be a positive number or a $0 amount. And a lot of times people ask, well, how much of my income should I be spending in certain categories? So I did find this pie chart online to kind of give you an estimate on what people are spending in each category. For example, people usually spend about 35% on their housing costs, and then 15 to 20% on transportation, and then 10 to 20% on food. And then you can see a breakdown of a few other items. So this is kind of the average, just to give you an idea and kind of compare where you're at in regards to the majority of other people. But I don't want you to get fixated on exactly spending these amounts in each category, because personal finance is very personal. It's more about what we need instead of what others are telling us that we need. So if we have a really high debt amount, we probably want to be putting a lot of our money toward debt. And that would include reducing our housing expenses so that we can put more money toward paying off our debt. I just wanted to share these estimates with you, but help you realize that you don't need to be following these estimates because it is very personal. Tell me in the comments if you already have your spending plan set up and if you are updating it every month. And then let's talk about part 2 of this section on where we are currently. And this is tracking our net worth. And what exactly is net worth? It is our assets minus our liabilities. And why it's important to track our net worth. Tracking our net worth gives us a good indication of our overall financial health. We can see if we are increasing our investments and paying down our debt. We kind of have that big financial picture when we are looking at our net worth, instead of just focusing on very small expenses or getting caught up in different transactions. This just gives us an overall view of our complete financial health. And one thing that I really like about Personal Capital is that it does track your net worth for you. You can actually enter in the value of your home. If you own a home, you can enter in the value of your car and different things like that. And then you can really see, okay, I have this amount in assets and this amount in liabilities. And it gives you a number at the top, which is your net worth. And it will also show you a graph, so you can track it over time, which is really fun. Another benefit of tracking our net worth is that it's actually more important than just tracking our income. Because if we have a really high income, but we are spending all of our money, then we don't really realize that if we're just tracking our income. So we want to track our net worth, everything that we owe minus everything that we own. And then you can also see your progress over time. You can measure that. Hopefully it is increasing over time instead of decreasing. And of course, if you have investments and the stock market goes down, then your net worth will drop. But over the long term, we want to see that number increase. And I know this was really exciting for me as I was tracking my net worth. When I hit that $1 million mark, I saw that in Personal Capital when I logged in, and I was super excited about that. But if I hadn't been tracking my net worth, I wouldn't have known when I hit that $1 million mark. Another benefit of tracking our net worth is that it emphasizes investing, which is really, really important. We want to make sure that our money is working for us and not just sitting in our savings account. We can watch that number, our investment number, grow over time because of compound interest. It'll grow exponentially, which doesn't happen if you just have your money sitting in a savings account. So if you are tracking your net worth, then you can really see your net worth increase by drastic amounts without even increasing your own income. And I know I have seen this recently because I own multiple properties, and I have seen the value of those properties increase drastically over the past few years, which has made my net worth increase quite a bit. It also provides a motivation to eliminate our debt. If we can see a lump sum of what our debt amount is, and then we are tracking our progress of paying down that debt, it motivates us to pay down that debt even sooner. And tracking our net worth just also helps us manage our money better. If we look at that overall picture of our complete financial health, then we can realize where we can make adjustments. Maybe we need to be investing more of our money, or maybe we need to be eating out less. But if we aren't tracking this, then we don't know those things. One other thing I want to bring up is to not let your net worth determine your self-worth. Everyone is on a different path. Some people have a really high net worth, some people have a negative net worth, and some are just floating around zero. Wherever we are on our journey, that is not determining our self-worth. It's just giving a picture of where we are currently, and we know that we can make improvements and make progress and increase our net worth over time. And then let me share an example of exactly how to determine your net worth. So in this example, we have everything that we own, which is a house valued at $600,000. We have a car valued at $15,000. We have money sitting in our checking account, which is $2,000. And then we have money in our savings account at $10,000. And then let's say we have a 401k and we have $200,000 in there already. And then we have a Roth IRA valued at $100,000, which gives us a total of everything that we own, all of our assets, of $927,000. And then we want to take a look at everything that we owe. So that could be our mortgage loan at $400,000, and then an auto loan at $5,000, and then student loans at $20,000, and then maybe we have some credit card debt at $2,000. So that would give us a total of $427,000 of what we owe. So if we want to determine our net worth, we are going to take that $927,000, subtract out that $427,000 to give us a net worth of $500,000. So I want you to figure out what your net worth is, or tell me in the comments if you already know what your net worth is. So those are my two elements of figuring out where we are currently so that we can achieve financial freedom. And if you missed my other video about step number 1, I will leave a link to that above and below in the description, so make sure and check that one out. And then I do have a video of an overview of my complete 5x2 financial freedom framework, so I will leave a link for that one as well above and below in the description. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button and share it with someone else who would like to hear this information, and hit the subscribe button to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and hit the little bell to get notified on when I post new videos. And if you want to get 2 free stocks from Webull, you can click on my referral link below in the description and set up a free account and deposit at least $100 to get 2 free stocks. And if you want to see even more content from me, check out the videos on the side of the screen. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.